who was concerned about the impact that the removal of Sunday working premiums would have on his ability to pay his mortgage. Some retail workers who also worried about the impact that cuts would have on their families and their ability to put food on the table. Now, people like that are the real story behind employment wage setting agreements. And when we talk about reform, we have to make sure that any reforms are balanced and any reforms are fair. And we have to examine the facts here. And fact one is that the Duffy-Walsh report concluded that cuts and lowering the basic JLC rates would have very little impact at all on unemployment. They said indeed that it would have an insignificant effect. The second fact that I'd like to raise is that in 2010, the World Economic Forum said that labour costs were not an issue when it came to competitiveness of the Irish economy. And another fact I'd like to raise is that when it comes to competitiveness, people are much more concerned about basic infrastructure in the country and about macroeconomic stability. So it's not because of Sunday premiums that we're uncompetitive. Sunday premiums don't have an effect at all, and we've seen no compelling evidence from any sector of society to tell us why removing Sunday pay structures would actually benefit the economy. The JLCs were first put in place in the 1940s when a lot less regulation and legislation was in place to protect employees, and they've played a very good and a very necessary part in employment law since then. But time does move on, and I think it's very important that we continually review and update our legislation so that they're fit for purpose and that they reflect today's needs and not those of the past. And in that respect, none of us has a problem with reform with JLCs and with updating legislation to ensure that it's fair and equitable. And in other areas, as well as this, the government is actively pursuing the rates of pay. And just to come back to something that Deputy Tobin mentioned earlier, it's just today that Minister Howland has announced that there would be reforms to the amount of pay paid to our top public servants and also to the top people in semi-state semi-state bodies. Thank you, Alas Ciaran Corder. It was only very recently that we also announced that we would be introducing a referendum to address the whole area of judges' pay and looking to reduce that by 50,000. I think that we need to make sure that fair cuts are made across society, that we won't target just one sector. And as I said earlier, there is no compelling evidence to show why cuts to the JLCs for Sunday premiums will actually benefit anybody at all. So I would urge the Minister to actually, when he comes to reviewing the JLCs, to bear this in mind.